Hi guys, it's Black Rat from 258 and welcome to the channel. First of all, I just want to say a big thank you for all the people who came in the channel recently because the views really go up in the last days. So it seems the content it's being appreciated. So I'm really happy for that. So let's start with the video because I saw that you guys were really interested about the last Sundiata videos. So we continue to do all the tests and to try to find what is the best legion for Sundiata. So of course it's not a surprise if you saw the last video, we are talking about 3 legions. So the first legion gonna be the full cavalry legion with the Rosen, Farah, and Sandiata. And then we have 2 mixed legions. One of them is Hunk with Warden and Sandiata, and the other one is Rosen, Warden, and Sandiata. So we did a lot of tests, and for that we used 6 legions. I guess 6. Yeah, 6 legions that we used for testing the Sandiata combo. We took the most popular and the top legions in the moment of the game. Of course, we didn't test all the legions. So we take those legions because of course, there is other legions who may be gonna have some results, some good results against Sundiata, but those legions are out of the meta and not used anymore, so I don't think it was really interesting to use them for the tests. So let's start with the board. I did a board, so let's check the results. And here you go. So you can see the 6 legions that we used. So we took the Brave, Seed, and Avalanche, one of course of the best cavalry legions, and also of course the Farah Immortal Rosen, the best infantry legion Arslan, Scarlet, and Healer. One of the top legions for few seasons, now not very used but still really good, Hellfire, Warhammer, and Avalanche. One mixed legions defensive, Lowman, Bleeding Steed, and Warhammer, and one of the top mixed legions of the moment, also the Hunk, Sakura, and Ethelfred. So the board works like this. I put green on the fights that our Sandiata was winning. It's like this. The green, when you're gonna see a green screen, gonna be that Sandiata beat really pretty easily the other legion. If I put yellow, it's gonna mean that it's kind of average. So sometimes Sandiata legion gonna win, sometimes the other legion gonna win. It's really average, not a big difference because between the two. And of course, when I put the red, it means that the Sandiata really lost a lot against this legion. So let's start to analyze this. What you can see at first with the line with the Farah, Immortal, and Rosen, you can see that it's all green, so it means that the 3 Sandiata combos beat really easily the Immortal Legion. So we already saw it in the last video that it was pretty easy for Sundiata to beat the Immortal Legion. We see also, which is really important, that the Sundiata, the 3 legions of Sundiata are really easily beating the Arslan combo, which is one of the real top combo in the moment. So he really beat them pretty easily actually, which is make the 3 legions really interesting because really Arslan is a real top legion in the moment. So we can see that they beat them easily, the Arslan and the Farah combo. And then we're gonna check, we can see that there's a line, it's full of yellow. So this legion is the Lowman, Bleeding Steed, and Warhammer. So in the tests, those three legions had same results, almost the same results. Three of them were having some problems sometimes to win. I can see that it was a little bit a little advantage for the Sandiata legions, but they still were having really problems to beat this legion. I guess it was really because this legion is very defensive with the counterattacks, a lot of counterattacks, healing, and also the statue effect that bleeding can apply, the confusion, which is really strong. So I guess that was what was really beating those three legions. Really, the results were almost the same. What we can see after, so we can check the Brave Seed Avalanche, and we can see that the Hank Warden Sundiata was really doing good against the Seed and the Avalanche, but for the two others it was completely the opposite. The Rosen Warden Sandiata and the Rosen Fara Sandiata were really losing a lot against Seed. It was to expect actually, because the Seed Brave combo is really strong against those full attack legions, those blast cannon, glass cannon regions. So I was not very surprised. Actually, they were losing a lot. Sometimes they won, but really rarely. But most of the time they really were losing. So I put them as a counter. Like really, the Brave Seed Avalanche is a kind of counter for the Sandiata with the Rosen. So the Sandiata glass cannon, because the Hunk, Warden, and Sandiata is not a glass cannon legion, because Hunk have some defensive skills, but for the full damage legions with the Rosen, it's not the same. So they really lose. They really lose against the Seed Brave combo. Then we can see there's a line full of red, and really surprising, actually, really surprising, but the Hellfire, Warhammer, and Avalanche is really destroying the Sandiata combos. All of them. Really, really rarely that Sandiata could win. I just remember that the full cavalry was doing a little bit better than the others against the Hellfire. Sometimes it was winning, but really rarely. But Hellfire is clearly one of the best counter for all the Sandiata's legion. So I guess that Sandiata really don't like much those defensive legions with counter attacks. So the Warhammer is really a good choice. We tested also a little bit with Lowman, Hellfire, and Warhammer, and it was also not bad. So we clearly see that Sandiata don't appreciate those counterattacks legions, and of course the Warhammer. So a real good counter. It's really important, because this legion, of course, is really out of meta, but well, maybe it's gonna come back a little bit, because it's really beating really nicely the Sandiata. So now let's go for the last lane, the Hetzelfred. So the Hetzelfred actually was doing good against the Hunk combo, and also against the full cavalry Sandiata combo. It was pretty average. I'm not gonna say it's a counter, because many people were saying it was a counter. I really don't think it's a counter, because it was really half. So it's good. It can be a good legion to fight against Sandiata, but really not a counter. Except for the Rosen Warden Sandiata, who was beating really pretty easily the Hetzelfred combo. I really don't understand exactly why, to be honest, but that's the result that we got. So really important that one of the best mixed legions in the moment get beat by this legion. So let's try to have a global view about this. So we can see on those 6 legions that the Hank is beating nicely 3 of them, having some problems with 2 of them, and one really hard counter. For the Rosen, Warden, Sandiata, we can see that they also are doing really great against 3 of those legions, and one legion having a little problems to beat, and 2 legions who really counter him. And for the cavalry one with Sandiata, we can see that he can beat 2 legions, and 2 legions he have some problems, and 2 legions who counters him. So if we check a global view, we can really see that the Sandiata cavalry with Rosenfara is a little less stronger in my opinion. I really was feeling that it was more hard to beat some legions. I was really having some problems, more problems than the others to beat this legion. So I can really, of course, it's a good legion. It's really a good legion, and of course better than the immortal one. So if you don't have a real good technology in the infantry and archery, and if you really focus it on cavalry, of course don't use the mixed legions, because if you don't have a good technology on the other units, you're really not gonna have good results. So better than that you use the full cavalry legion. If you have a good technology in infantry archery, I really give you the advice to choose the mixed ones. So the question is, which one is the better of the 2 mixed legions? Well, it's really kind of hard to say. I think it's going to be more depending the situation, that we can see that the hunk, the one with hunk, it's going to be more consistent in my opinion. When I was fighting in the battlefield of honor, I really saw that it was a little more consistent to beat different legions. So the Rosen was dying a little bit faster when it was about to kill more than 1 legion. And also the problem is that Rosen have 2 counters in this board, and the Hunk only have 1 really hard counter. But in the other side, the Rosen have the advantage to beat the Ethelfred, and for the Hunk it's a little more difficult. So I think it's a kind of preference, because the legions are actually different the way they work, because one is a glass cannon and the one more classical one. So it's really depend on the situation. So against them, they have almost the same problem against the defensive legions, and the only big difference is that the Seed legion can't really beat the Hunk, but it can beat the Rosen. And in the other side, the Rosen can beat the Ethelfred, and the Hunk have some difficulties to beat it. So it's kind of a preference. So if you want my opinion, I have the preference for the Hunk, because it's for me really more consistent, and it's actually really nice because you can put the Hunk there and still be playing with the Farah, Rosen, and the Immortal, because the Rosen it's free. So you can still play with this Glass Cannon Legion and keep the Hunk, because I don't have Ethelfred maxed. But of course, I think if you have the Ethelfred maxed, it's going to be more interesting maybe to play with the 2 legions, with Hunk, Sakura, and Ethelfred, and with the Rosen, Warden, Sandiata. So you can have the 2 different kind of legions, which is going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be, if you have the Ethelfred, to play like this with those 2 legions. But if you don't have Ethelfred, I really prefer the Hunk, Warden, Sandiata. So there's not really, I don't think there's one best on the other. So I decided to make a little combat between them to see which one is the best. And with the Hunk, Warden, and Sandiata, he was beating the 2 other legions. After the Rosen, Warden, Sandiata was beating only the Rosenfara Sandiata, and of course the Rosenfara Sundiata was losing against the two others, which means that the top rank was the Hank Warden Sundiata, in the second place the Rosen Warden Sundiata, and the last the Rosen Farah Sundiata. So I give you all the informations that we could find out. I hope it's gonna help you to find which one you gonna use. For me, as you saw, I have a small preference for the Hank, Warden, and Sandiata. For me, it's really more consistent. So this video it's ended. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I see you soon for the next video. Peace out.